North American motorsport has plenty of tracks that are known around the world, courses constructed in the racetrack boom of the mid-1950s. Many of these courses were built out of necessity after racing on public roads was banned, and places like Lime Rock Park, Watkins Glen, and Road America were built. The last of those three, Road America, the track we're at this morning, still remains one of the biggest, fastest, and most formidable tracks in the country. They call it the National Park of Speed, and this weekend, GRIDLIFE joins NASCAR and Porsche Carrera Cup as a support series. GRIDLIFE is a motorsports events company based in Chicago that hosts racing, time attack, and drift events in conjunction with music festivals around the country. This weekend, we brought our NOS Energy Track Battle Championship, as well as our single-class touring car series, to race here at Road America. Welcome, I'm Kyle Heyer from GRIDLIFE, and thanks for joining us here at Road America, the National Park of Speed. On track now is the GRIDLIFE NOS Energy Track Battle Championship, 30 of our fastest time attack cars that we bring here to the racetrack. And this weekend, we've got 30 of those time attack cars from a variety of categories. There are 7 categories in track battle competition. We have the vast majority of those classes represented here this weekend. The goal of track battle is to be the fastest in your category. It's a race against the clock, not a race against each other. If you're watching trackside or from home on our live telecast, you can see the different colors on the timing and scoring stacker. The red at the top of the board, those are the fastest cars in GRIDLIFE Track Battle, that of the Unlimited category. Here's a look at the Unlimited class with Unlimited Explained. GRIDLIFE Unlimited, the top class in track battle competition. Each car must start life as a production vehicle with a VIN number and be closed-wheeled. Cars must have roll cages and fire suppression equipment. Nitrous and hybrid power are permitted. Engines, aerodynamics, and tires are all unrestricted. Some unlimited cars are capable of 200 miles per hour. So on track now for a 30-minute session is that NOS Energy Track Battle Championship. You'll see times come up on the timing and scoring, but one of the fastest cars here this weekend is number 257. That's Mike Dussault, and for those that are familiar with the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, this is the same car that you're used to seeing in that competition. Mike Dussault heading down towards turn 1 right now. His first lap of the session turns at a 2:15.838. This car is unbelievably fast as he works his way through turn number 1 now under the Arians bridge and heads down towards turn number 3. This Camaro will do north of 160 miles an hour. It ran a 2:10 yesterday as he now rockets onto the back straightaway. Right behind him is Jackie Ding, but Jackie was even faster in his track-modified Toyota Supra. This car has seen competition all over North America as we head up the front straightaway now with Cal Fortner in the background, but down into turn number 5 is Mike Dussault's Camaro as he sweeps on through and heads up the hill towards turn number 6. And then into turns 6 and 7. This is a left-right combination, a really challenging corner exit that drivers will be fighting for control over. Brand new pavement here at Road America, and it's been a challenge for drivers to learn the new racing lines that have formed with that sticky racing line and maybe a bit slick offline. Down into turn 8, just in the distance, Luca Barberis is going to give way here to Mike Dussault as they head through the carousel. 4 miles here, 14 turns. And then into the famous kink on the backside of the racetrack here, turn number 11. And here comes Dussault into the shot now. And through turn 11 here, probably north of 130 miles an hour. And then down the back straightaway towards turn 12. This is Canada Corner, the northernmost turn on the circuit. Heavy braking zone, down a couple of gears for Dussault. And he'll work his way up around. And also in the background, we'll see Jackie Ding entering the shot. There's Luca Barberis in his Evo. Jackie Ding here, labeled as Jimmy Diggs this weekend. His alter ego brings the Supra out of retirement. This car has broken track records all over North America. And he just did a 2:15.4, which is an unbelievable lap time. There's Ernestus Pazelis in a Chevrolet Corvette working his way through turn number 12. And back up towards the front straightaway again. This is a non-points event here this weekend. This is all just basically a showcase of some of the fastest cars that we have here in the NOS Energy Track Battle Championship. And here comes Luca Barberis across the stripe in a street class Evo. And here comes Ernestus Pazelis in that Chevrolet Corvette across the start-finish line. And he jumps up to a 2:18.3 as Dussault goes even faster at a 2:11.542. And just for reference, Dussault's time is only a couple of seconds off of the Porsche 911 992 Cup cars that are here this weekend running in Carrera Cup. And for a car that's effectively garage built, that is an extremely impressive lap time here. So those are the drivers at the top of the standings right now. And just a little ways behind, there's also Cal Fortner in the number 14 Mercedes-AMG GTS. And also James Clay is here this weekend. He's just gone by the start-finish line as we check back in with them at the exit of turn number 1. James Clay bringing a BMW M4 with him. This is a street car that he's turned into a time attack car as he sweeps through your screen now and heads towards turn number 3. James Clay coming off of a really quick run at the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb just about a month ago. And he will rocket up onto the back straightaway. That car falls into the street modified category here this weekend. And just behind him on track, David Calzada in his K-Swap, or his V8 Mazda Miata, I should say, as they head down towards turn number 5. There's James Clay entering what will be one of the best passing zones in our Touring Cup category later today. So we've showed you the Unlimited category, and Jackie Ding and Jimmy Diggs in that Toyota Supra is part of the Track Modified category. Here's a look at Track Mod Explained.
GRIDLIFE Track Modern captures a variety of vehicles, from nearly stock supercars to extensively modified time attack cars. Track Mod allows flat bottom floors, 3 large aero components including active aero if equipped from factory, sequential gearboxes, 3-way adjustable suspension, and 100 treadwear tires are allowed in this track-focused class.
Cars continue to work their way around. James Clay, second in Street Modified. Ryan Matthews at the top of that category right now. Street Mod, effectively the highest category of track battle time attack where your car must remain street legal. And Ryan Matthews in that 121, that's a red Chevrolet Corvette at a 219.076, and just 1.4 seconds behind him is James Clay. And I always put it in the frame of mind that 1.4 seconds at a place like Road America is not that far off when you consider that losing a tenth of a second in every corner around this track will make sure that you're 1.4 off at the end of a lap. There's Jamie Santos cooling down, and Peter Granberg in a Falcon Club TR Subaru BRZ. Now, our Club TR category, another one of our interesting builders classes, based on cars that are kind of lightweight rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive cars that are relatively accessible, things like the Toyota 86, Subaru BRZ, Acura Integra, Honda Civic. Those cars drop right into the Falcon Club TR category. It allows engine swaps, but you can't change engine internals, so you can kind of build the car that you want to build, but there is definitely some budget limitations there. Through the kink now for a handful of our competitors as they work on through. Mike Dussault catching some traffic now, which is something that you'll have to manage. 30 cars on Road America definitely isn't filling the racetrack, but there's certainly some traffic for some of the faster cars to have to navigate on their way down to Canada Corner. You see it now. Dussault went a little bit faster yesterday, and we take the fastest time of the weekend in total to mark the winner for the weekend. So Dussault's 2:10 from yesterday will stand as the fastest time he has run so far. Cars coming across the stripe, and an interesting one that's gone by is an Acura NSX that we'll get a look at a little bit later today in more detail. And streaming by the start-finish line now, the Ford Mustang GT500. That's Nicholas Gardner. That is an unlimited class car, and it is exceptionally fast in a straight line. It runs on slicks most of the time. Hoosier slicks. You see him now, that green and blue Mustang rocketing away, and currently scored with a 221.188 in 7th overall and 4th in the unlimited class. Notice so far that not a lot of drivers have taken advantage of the second half of the track battle session. Really, these cars are built to go fast for 1 or 2 laps, and around here at Road America, that's about 8 to 10 minutes worth of time when you include your out lap and your in lap as Puzelis goes by once again. He's picked up another couple of seconds to a 2:16.719. And coming down the front straightaway now into the shot here in just a moment is Luca Barberis in that blue Street Class Evo. Now, Street Class is another builder's category that is all about finding the most speed you can in a street-oriented vehicle, but that means that you see a lot of all-wheel drive turbo cars. So lots of high speed on straightaways, but maybe you're fighting it through the corners a bit without a whole bunch of aero to rely on as Luca goes by, looks like on a cool-down lap. A couple other cars on track we haven't seen trip the timing and scoring just yet. Mike Puglisi in a high downforce Evo. And heading towards turn one right now also is Andreas Bertulis in a Lexus RCF, a very unique vehicle in the unlimited class, currently 10th overall. And Bertulis will come into the shot. That new wrap, new livery on the car, purple and black, looks mean. And it's heading down towards turn number 3. Up the straightaway now is one of our street class competitors, Sam Bosnian, working his way by the stripe, and following him is another one of our unlimited class cars. And I just saw Peter Zhang roll by the start-finish line as well, leaving pit lane. He's borrowing Alex Arteit's BMW M3 this weekend, was going to run in the Touring Cup category, but wasn't quite prepared for that yet, so he has jumped into Time Attack. Rolling by, the camera shot there is Cal Fortner. That's a Mercedes AMG GTS I mentioned earlier. And some folks on the live broadcast on YouTube and Twitch asking why Jackie Ding is running his Supra in the track modified category. So Street Mod and Track Mod, there's not a huge jump from Street Mod to Track Mod. It's really just the size of the aero components and the tire that you're allowed. And Jackie Ding, his front splitter a little bit too large for the street modified category here this weekend, and it was built for Super Lap Battle trim, was a shade out of spec for our GRIDLIFE Track Battle series for the street mod class, and he bumped up to track mod this weekend to make things a little bit easier on our scrutineering team, to not have to make him remove that. So down towards the speed trap here at turn number 5, and at the you might be able to make it out there, the speeds that we're seeing north of 130 miles an hour for some of the faster cars. And there goes a couple cars off track there at turn number 5, where the drivers will exit the course here for the weekend. They don't have to do a full cool down. They can pull off right at turn number 5 as Peter Granberg heads up towards turns 6 and 7. So Brad Perkins was also on track. I saw him go by a little while ago. We'll see if we can find him on course. As we're going to look at turns 6 and 7, and then down to turn number 8. Turns 8 and 5 are fairly similar in your approach to them on entry, but there's less of a downhill going into 8 as Peter streams on through and stays clear of the curbing there. Really rough trackside curbs, and if you've got especially an older, lightweight car, all the suspension components will really take a beating here at this racetrack. You have to respect those track limits, stay in bounds of those white lines unless you want to rattle your brains out. It is a very rough off-track area here at Road America. So coming up in just a few minutes is going to be our GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race. So that will be in about 15 minutes' time, so make sure you stick around. That on YouTube it will be a different broadcast. If you're here trackside, you'll get to enjoy it on the Jumbotrons and the trackside PA. As Dalton Klein just went by the start-finish line, and Dalton's car, a bright orange Corvette. And it certainly can find some speed. He has not yet laid down a lap time. There's Brad Perkins, by the way, the unlimited class BMW. And following him, Dalton Klein in track mod. There are a few cars here also in the Street GT category, which Street GT is basically cars with an MSRP of under $130,000, and there's not a lot you can do to the aero. You can do some suspension, you can do some brakes, but beyond that, you have to keep the car effectively as it came from factory. Here's Street GT explained.
GRIDLIFE Street GT, cars with large displacement engines with 5, 6, or 8 cylinders. These cars are heavier and are allowed wide 200 treadwear tires. No internal engine modifications are allowed. Only showroom stock aerodynamics, and all vehicles must have an original MSRP of less than $130,000. All body components must remain the original material, and no engine or drivetrain swaps are allowed.
So a handful of Street GT competitors here this weekend. Kyle Magnussen in the number 570. That is a yellow and black Porsche Cayman. And for those following Kyle's story in the track battle world, he was at an event at Barber Motorsports Park a couple of months ago. That car was upside down in a gravel trap. They turned it back over, and he still ended up on the podium for the weekend. So that car has been upside down and still highly competitive. Really neat story behind Kyle Magnussen in that yellow and black Porsche Cayman. Track is a little quieter now as some of the faster cars have kind of run their competitive laps, and we're expecting that the previous track mod record might have fallen here with Jackie Ding in that Toyota Supra. It was a 2:15.623, and now it's a 2:15.411. And we expected some track records to fall here in the track battle competition because of the new pavement here at Road America, freshly repaved. James Clay, BMW, rockets by the start-finish line and off towards turn number 1. But the new pavement, for some drivers, has been a bit of a challenge to get used to because offline it can be a little slick with some of the oils coming up as the track cures, especially off-track as well. Some new curbing added at places like the exit of turn 1. And some drivers have been finding grip here this weekend. Seen some sketchy videos from our Touring Cup drivers, especially through the kink area where they're really on edge fighting for control. So James Clay heading down the back straightaway here in his BMW, car number 336. It's got a lot done to it. It's definitely far from stock, but not a full-on race car like James is used to driving, whether that's in IMSA or World Challenge competition. And up wide onto the rumbles at the exit of turn 5 under the Corvette Bridge. It is one of the longest-running sponsorships in racetrack history. That bridge has been the Corvette Bridge for a very long time. James almost wide at turn 6, got way up onto the rumbles there, but comfortable behind the wheel up onto the rumbles at the exit of turn 7 as well. And then down into turn 8. But James very comfortable here at this racetrack in this car and finding some time. And he's spent a lot of time on track as well. He has his team here checking tire pressures and things of the sort. Keep that car running in tip-top shape. And just a second and a half off of the current street mod leader, which is Ryan Matthews. And thinking back to our season opening event at Carolina Motorsports Park, Ryan Matthews almost won that competition in our podium sprint, but had a differential issue that prevented him from going on to win that. Still ended up on the podium despite having the fastest lap of the weekend. Finished a little bit down the order. White flag there at turn number 12, which means that there is a slow vehicle somewhere on course ahead of him, but perhaps in turn 13. But the 336 charges up the hill, and there is, looks like a safety truck that is bringing somebody back. Let's see if we can get a view on who, what, and where. There is a truck or a car on the rollback there. Can't really get a good look at it, unfortunately, but somebody has gotten towed off course as James Clay heads up the front straightaway. Already blows by the camera shot and crosses the line, and it is a improvement to a 2:19.666, so he's only 0.6 off Ryan Matthews now as well. So the battle in Street Modified tightens up here in the GRIDLIFE NOS Energy Track Battle Championship. Car coming up the hill now under the walkover bridge, Andreas Bertulis and Dalton Klein. Bertulis by the stripe. No pickup for him. Dalton Klein comes across the stripe. He does pick up to a 2:28.261, 15th overall here in this session. So just a few minutes remaining here in the Track Battle NOS Energy Championship. Again, non-points round for this event, as it's a curated field here, so not enough cars to really flesh out a podium and fairly give away points, but our GLTC field will be a points event, and that is coming up shortly. James Clay off at turn number 5, leaving the racetrack, heading back to the paddock. And things are quieting down here in Track Battle, and again, a lot of these cars built just to go fast for a couple of laps. But there is Jamie Santos working his way around on a cool down. His best time, a 2:26.610. And I see the time for the number 77 of Kanakri, Jason Kanakri, in the McLaren 720S, but I haven't actually seen that car, so I wonder if that transponder has gotten moved to another vehicle, because he had a pretty wild engine explosion yesterday where his whole under tray was just littered in McLaren 720S engine components, and certainly not an inexpensive car to repair, nor was he going to do it this weekend. So I'll have to get an update on why that car is showing up on the timing and scoring. So he should be done for the weekend, unfortunately, despite best efforts. And into turn 5 comes another one of our competitors here in a BMW, working their way through. That's the 426 of Alexander Roy, who is in our track modified category. Again, that allows pretty large aero components. If your car has active aero from factory, you can keep it. And the McLaren 720S, one of the examples of cars that does have active aero, you can keep on the vehicle. You can really take two paths in the track modified class. You can either get a modern supercar like a Lamborghini Huracan or a McLaren or a Ferrari, or you can go the builder way and LS swap a Miata and put crazy aero on it. A couple different paths in the track mod class that you don't necessarily get flexibility in other categories. Down the front straightaway, Bertulis comes across the line again at a 2:24.708, still getting his time worth in on the track right now with just about 5 minutes remaining here in the session. Konakry brought two cars. Thanks, Aaron, on our live chat, telling me that he has brought another vehicle. I was not actually aware of that, so that's good news for Jason to still stay on track despite the McLaren having a bit of an unplanned exit to the race weekend. So track battle competition still on course now. Again, this is a race against the clock in 7 different categories, ranging from our Sunday Cup class, which is cars like the Honda Fit, all the way to Unlimited, which is a rule book that is essentially half a page long, and most of that is just safety components and things to keep the driver safe behind the wheel, and not much beyond that. And up next soon will be our GRIDLIFE Touring Cup first race of the weekend. As looks like Alex Roy has come. No, that was Konakry in his E92 BMW. So that's the car that he's got. And it does feel empty on track, but that's mostly because a lot of the cars that have joined us here this weekend are really built to go 1 or 2 laps. So then they come on in after they've run as good as they can. The tires are hot. The car is hot. It's just hard to stay on track for a full 30 minutes. It's a long session here in Time Attack. So in Street GT, we've got Peter Zhang in the number 17 M3, and then Jerry Liu in the 226 Porsche. So we've got a handful of Porsches and then a BMW M3 in the Street GT class here this weekend, and then a trio, actually make that a quartet of Club TR cars, Peter Gramberg, Jared Garcia, Neruchetti, and a couple others. And on our shots here, now you can see the NASCAR haulers loaded in. They're going to get their action started here a little bit later today. But before that, we'll get into our GRIDLIFE Touring Cup show here. But as far as cars on track, don't see any at this stage. They have all come back into pit lane. Oh, there is one coming by the start-finish line now. Let's see who is left on track. It's still Bertulis in the Lexus RCF, still getting his money's worth as far as his track time goes. And not picking up much time. I think he's kind of heat cycled his tires out of speed at the moment, but there he goes through turn number 2. But on the grid now, you can see here GLTC cars lining up, and our coverage of GLTC will start in just a couple of minutes' time. But this is our wheel-to-wheel racing series that will start in a few moments, and this is a power-to-weight class, so 12.5 pounds per horsepower. And we race 4 15-minute sprints over the course of the weekend, 2 today, 2 tomorrow. The grid today set by qualifying, and the grid later this afternoon will be set by the fastest lap from this first race. So it's a bit of a qualifying and a race all in one. Some new cars, new builds we'll go over and cover in just a couple of minutes. And you see now Eric Catil rolling up. Most recent winner in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup is 1992 Honda Civic Si sedan, rolling into his grid spot up in 4th place after his qualifying effort from yesterday. As far as Club TR, got a question about Club TR and Street. How do they determine which class the car will be taking part in? That's really up to the modifications that you do. So a car like a Toyota 86 will fit in Club TR basically with the RT660 tire from Falcon and nothing else. If you want to run a different tire, that's really what will bump you into Street class. As far as engine modifications, if you start opening things up, that will also put you in a higher category as well. So as soon as you open the engine, you're going to get bumped, but really it's just the tires. If you don't want to run on the Falcon RT660, that will push you into a higher class. But the 86 is probably best represented in that Club TR category. So with Time Attack Track Battle complete here for the NOS Energy Track Battle Championship, we'll step away for just a few moments and return with GRIDLIFE Touring Cup action in a few moments. Our wheel-to-wheel race coming up, 15-minute sprint with a 43-car field.